Hello and welcome to Supposedly Fun. My name is Greg and I am here today to do my book haul for the month of November. If you are watching this video on the day that it was released, happy Thanksgiving. If you live in the United States, Thanksgiving is a weird holiday. It has kind of colonial roots and all of that, but I'm here for the friends aspect. I'm here for the family aspect. I'm here for the food for sure. So if you celebrate, happy Thanksgiving. If not, I hope you enjoy this book haul. And that goes for anybody who does not watch this on the day that it is released. Speaking of Thanksgiving, if you hear baking noises or anything like that happening in the background, Joel is in the kitchen baking. He's making a pie right at this very minute because I am filming this the day before Thanksgiving. So I'm going to try to do this quickly too, so I can get over and help him with all of that stuff. And that should be very possible because it's funny how the world can be cyclical, yin and yang and all that. Last month, I had my largest book haul ever. It was huge. I'll have it linked down below if you haven't seen it. I had a lot of books to talk about in my October book haul. And this month is the opposite. I have 4 books to talk to you about. I only actually spent money on 2 of them. And I spent $2.50 on 2 books. One of the books was $2. One of them was 50 cents. So in the entire month of November, I spent $2.50 on books. That's pretty good. And that is going to be fun for a book haul revisit. So again, it's just funny because I had my biggest book haul ever, and now I have a really small one. So quite unique circumstances, and especially unique in that I didn't really spend a lot of money. In fact, one of the books that I spent money on, I got today because I happened to be in town and stopped at, I actually had to go to the library. So I was running an errand for Thanksgiving in town and stopped at the library and saw this for sale. So let's just dive in and talk about the books. The first one is something that was very kindly sent to me by Riverhead Books. So this is being released in December. It's an advanced reader's copy, Rental House by Weike Wang. And they sent it in this lovely package that had this same image on the front. And when you opened it, it was the book. There was a blurb from Elif Baudeman, the author of The Idiot. And I wish I had saved the box so I could read the blurb to you. But it also came with this lovely note on a piece of paper that matches. The branding is really strong on this. So it sounds very interesting to me and like something that's right up my street. I hadn't requested this, so this was actually a total surprise to me that it showed up on my door. That hasn't really happened to me before, so I feel a little fancy. And I'm glad that if it was going to happen, it happened with a book that sounds like something that I would be really interested in reading. So Keru and Nate are college sweethearts who marry despite their family differences. Keru's strict Chinese parents demand perfection. To use a dishwasher is to admit defeat, says her father. While Nate's rural white working class family distrusts his intellectual ambitions and his foreign wife. Some years into their marriage, the couple invites their families on vacation. At a Cape Cod beach house, and later at a luxury Catskills bungalow, Keru, Nate, and their giant sheepdog navigate visits from in-laws and unexpected guests, all while wondering if they have what it takes to answer the big questions. How do you handle family conflicts? How many people and dogs make a family? And what can you do to shepherd the pack back together when it starts to fall apart? With her wry, wise, and simply spectacular style, and hilarious deadpan that recalls Gish Jen and Nora Ephron, Weike Wang offers a portrait of a family that is equally witty, incisive, and tender. Weike Wang wrote a book called Chemistry that I remember not hearing too much about that one. There was another one, Joan is Okay. And I heard really good things about Joan is Okay. I had thought about reading that book and ultimately didn't. So it'd be nice to sort of catch up and actually experience her work. The quote from Elif Batuman is actually on the back of the book. So here you go. Funny and delightful. A story for anyone who's experienced demanding parents, misunderstanding in-laws, a vacation gone wrong, or midlife questions about how to reconcile your own personality liabilities with those of the person you love most. And honestly, that is the description that got me most excited about this book, because it's like check, 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 check. Lots of stuff that I am interested in. If you follow along, you know I am really into complicated family stories, and it just sounds so up my street. So I can't wait to read it. It will be released on December 3rd. I will have affiliate links to all of the books, except for one. We'll get into that down below. And if you use the affiliate link to bookshop.org, like if I spark an interest in any of these books for you, you can use those links, either get more information about the books or purchase it there. That gives me a little bit of a kickback. Otherwise, you can support your own local independent bookstore. I am wearing my Montana Book Company Loudest Bookstore Ever t-shirt today. That's a great bookstore. If you have a local one, you may do that. Or you can support your local library, because supporting your local library is always a good thing to do. So this will be coming out on December 3rd. In this case, if you watch this video before December 3rd, that will be a pre-order link down below. If you watch after, of course, it's just going to be an order button. All right. In my book hauls, I like to read a little bit from the opening of the book. So why would this one be any different? Part 1. She had started looking in winter, browsing rental sites recommended by friends who went away for long periods of summer and knew about this stuff. They knew which towns along the Cape had the cleanest beaches, which towns on Nantucket were the most kid-friendly, and which ice cream stands the Obamas frequented on the Vineyard. These tips she wrote down on a notepad. Martha's Vineyard equals Obamas equals ice cream. She'd marked kid-friendly places as ones to avoid. She and her husband of 5 years had discussed visiting the Cape before, but for 5 years had not. It was decided that this was the summer to do so. They would leave Manhattan and spend a month within walking distance of the Atlantic Ocean in a classic New England cottage with gables, shutters, and 2 beds. 2 beds so that both sets of parents could visit. Staggered. And that is the opening of Rental House by Wei Qi Wang, reminding me a little bit of Sandwich by Catherine Newman, which I read earlier this year. Also about a family going to the Cape and having a lot of revelations and family drama and things. Kind of. That's not really... If you've read Sandwich, and a lot of people have, you might see why I am thinking of that book while reading the description of this one. So that is the first book that I brought into my library. And again, that's one I did not spend money on. Here's the one I spent 50 cents on. I saw it at the library for sale and had to grab it. It's The Pokey Little Puppy's First Christmas. It's a golden book. I grew up with The Pokey Little Puppy. I don't own a copy of it, but I was delighted to look on bookshop.org and see that both The Pokey Little Puppy and The Pokey Little Puppy's First Christmas are available on Bookshop. So there are links to these down below. And I'm going to include one for The Pokey Little Puppy, for those of you who are unfamiliar. So I grew up with golden books, and The Pokey Little Puppy was one of my favorites. I also loved The Saggy Baggy Elephant and a whole bunch of other ones that I don't know where the copies went, but it's like finding a bit of my childhood, even though I never had the specific Pokey Little Puppy's First Christmas, which is a shame, because what would have been more delightful for me as a child? Look at these illustrations. It's adorable. It's adorable. So I had to get it. I had to. And it's 50 cents. So not something I will hold myself accountable to in a future book haul revisit, but I'm delighted to have this book in my library. Now, very different circumstance, but why wouldn't we just read a little bit from the opening? So, there is The Saggy Baggy Elephant, by the way, and The Tawny Scrawny Lion. That was another one. Oh, there they are. The Tawny Scrawny Lion. So, yeah, I'm familiar with all of these. Here's a little bit from the opening. 4 little puppies tumbled out of bed one morning and ran to their breakfast bowls. Then they counted themselves. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, where in the world is that Pokey Little Puppy? They wondered. Pokey was still fast asleep. His mother nudged him and said, "Come on, Pokey. Today is Christmas Eve." Pokey yawned and stretched. Even on special days like Christmas Eve, he was still Pokey. And look how adorable that is. So there you go. Just a fun little thing that I found. And because this is such a small book haul, I decided to include it. I am somebody who really likes the holidays. They give me joy, and that gave me joy. So there you go. This is something that was sent to me as a gift. If you follow along at all, you know that I am a fan of E.M. Forster, and in particular, the book Maurice, which is definitely a case of the right book coming at the right time. When I was in my 20s and thinking about coming out, I did this weird thing that I sometimes do. I started reading a bunch of classic gay novels, almost as if I was trying to research what I might be in for if I came out. And the thing about classic gay novels is they are depressing, super duper depressing. And without actually coming out to someone, I was talking to a friend of my father's at a dinner party and mentioned that I had read Gore Vidal's The City and the Pillar, and how it was kind of frustrating that these classic gay books were always so unhappy. And he told me, you know what you should read? Maurice. And I read it, and it gave me hope. It filled me with all good feelings, and I came out not long after that. So it's a classic case of the right book coming along at the right time. And it will always have a special place in my heart for that. It is not easy to find good-looking versions of E.M. Forster books. Joel gave me a box set for my birthday last year or the year before. I don't remember which. What is time? So I have this lovely box set, but it lives over there and everything's in the box set. So it's attractive, but it's nice that I have this one, which was given to me by Jen the librarian. I will link her channel down below. It's delightful. And I can have it faced out on my shelf now. It actually goes in this space that has been briefly vacated so I can film this video. So Maurice, or Morris, as this is pronounced in the UK. Somebody actually asked me recently, so it's pronounced Morris in the UK, so you should pronounce it that way. Well, in the US, we say Maurice. So bear with me. It's fine. And it has an introduction from Colm Tóibín, and there's a blurb on the back. There's a quote on the back and a blurb from Colm Tóibín. It says, Colm Tóibín says, "A monument to a moment when change seemed possible." And the quote is, "His heart leapt alive and shook him to pieces. It cried, 'You love and are loved.'" And the reason that this book could lean into the good vibes and sort of have could avoid having an unhappy ending is that E.M. Forster didn't publish this when it was written. It was not published in his lifetime. It was published in either 1970 or 1971 after E.M. Forster had died. And that's why this book, unlike so many classic gay novels, can be happy and upbeat and say that this gay protagonist might be able to find love and happiness, and maybe he won't be able to live the life he expected, but he can live a life on his own terms. And I'm going to show you what the book looks like without the little dust jacket, because this is just a gorgeous edition of this book. So there you go, because it starts when he is at Cambridge. He's at Cambridge. I'm an American. I get them confused. Bear with me. So for this one, I'm going to have two links down below. As I said, Jen the librarian sent this to me. She lives in the UK. This is the new hardcover edition that is currently available in the UK. So for this edition, I will have a link to blackwells.com down below. I have no affiliate thing with them, so if you follow there, you can order this. They will ship to the US. I have ordered from Blackwells in the past and had a good experience. So if you want this edition, use the Blackwells link down below. There is an American hardcover that is attractive coming out in January, so I'll have a link to that one on bookshop.org down below as well. So two options for that. So Maurice Hall, or Morris Hall if you're in the UK, grows up in comfort and privilege near London in a villa surrounded by pines, where all is convenience and ease. He progresses through a traditional English education, projecting an outer confidence that masks troubling questions about his unspoken desires. At Cambridge University, Maurice meets Clive, an assured older student with whom he enjoys a close and intense relationship. Sneaking around college, climbing through windows, and skipping lectures, Maurice begins to grasp a less conventional view of the nature of love. And then, on a trip to Clive's family estate, he meets Alec, the gamekeeper, and his emotional and sexual awakening reaches its height, opening up the possibility of a life that strays from the path he was raised to follow. But can Maurice overcome societal pressures, self-doubt, and heartbreak to find happiness? Forster completed Maurice in 1914, but felt that it could not be published in his lifetime. It was not until 1971, the year after Forster's death, that the novel was finally published. And let's read a little bit. This, by the way, was published by Scepter. Let's read a little bit. By the way, begun 1913, finished 1914. Dedicated to a happier year. And there's Colm Tóibín's introduction. We're going to skip over that and read part 1, chapter 1. Once a term, the whole school went for a walk. That is to say, the 3 masters took part as well as all the boys. It was usually a pleasant outing, and everyone looked forward to it, forgot old scores, and behaved with freedom. Lest discipline should suffer, it took place just before the holidays, when leniency does no harm, and indeed it seemed more like a treat at home than at school. For Mrs. Abrahams, the principal's wife, would meet them at the tea place with some lady friends, and be hospitable and motherly. And that is the opening of Maurice, or Morris, by E.M. Forster. A really beautiful book if you have not read it. And that already takes us to the final book in this book haul, which is the one that I purchased today and the one that I spent $2 on. So my library sells used books. Kids' books like Pokey Little Puppy are 50 cents. Paperbacks are $1. Hardcovers are $2. So this is the one that I got for $2. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I have pretty consistently heard good things about this book since it was published. Joel read it earlier this year, and it has since been recommended to us several times. And he has always had really interesting conversations with people about it and how it made them feel and how it made them think about their lives. And I feel like I need to catch up. I'm getting FOMO about this book. So when I saw it in the library, I thought, okay, well, this is something that Joel already likes, and I feel like I need to catch up on, so I'm going to grab this book. So this is the last minute addition to this book haul. This is published by Viking. There is a paperback available. That is the one that will be linked in the description box down below. Between life and death, there is a library. Up until now, Nora Seed's life has been full of misery and regret. She feels she has let everyone down, including herself, but things are about to change. When she finds herself in the Midnight Library, she has a chance to make things right. The books in the Midnight Library enable Nora to live as if she had done things differently. Each one contains a different life, a possible world in which she made different choices that played out in an infinite number of ways, affecting everyone she knew as well as many people she never met. With the help of an old friend, she can now undo every decision she regrets as she tries to work out her perfect life. But things aren't always what she imagined they'd be, and soon her choices place the library and herself in extreme danger. Before time runs out, she must answer the ultimate question: what is the best way to live? And according to Joel, he thought he knew where this book was going in the end, but it took a he was surprised, and he didn't want to say anything more than that. So this is something that I will have to catch up to at some point. Let's do a little bit from the opening of the book and close out this very short November book haul. It is dedicated to all the health workers and the care workers. Thank you. Quote from Sylvia Plath. And it opens with a small chapter called A Conversation About Rain. 19 years before she decided to die, Nora Seed sat in the warmth of the small library at Hazeldene School in the town of Bedford. She sat at a low table, staring at a chessboard. "Nora, dear, it's natural to worry about your future," said the librarian, Mrs. Elm, her eyes twinkling. Mrs. Elm made her first move, a knight hopping over the neat row of white pawns. "Of course, you're going to be worried about the exams, but you could be anything you want to be, Nora. Think of all the possibility. It's exciting." "Yes, I suppose it is. A whole life in front of you. A whole life. You could do anything, live anywhere, somewhere a bit less cold and wet." Nora pushed a pawn forward 2 spaces. and that is the opening of Matt Haig's The Midnight Library, something that has very consistently been recommended to me, and also very consistently recommended to Joel, even after he read it. It's just something that we're in conversations about books and what we've read and liked, people almost immediately will point to us and say, have you read The Midnight Library? So he has, and now I need to catch up. So those are the books that I brought into my library in the month of November. I would love to hear if you have thoughts about any of them, comments or recommendations based on them down below. Again, if you live in the United States and celebrate Thanksgiving or a variation that's a little less colonial, happy holidays to you. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this book haul. And as always, I really appreciate your time, and we'll be back. Until next time, happy reading.